Hello and welcome to Medicine Across Borders,
where we explore the global tapestry of healthcare
and challenges shaping healthcare systems worldwide.
Share your thoughts and rate us on our social platforms to help us continue bringing new content on global healthcare.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Taha Bari, and welcome to Medicine Across Borders. Today, I'm joined by Olesya and Olena from Poznan University of Medical Sciences. Could you guys please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. We're happy to be here and happy that Taha asked for us to join this very interesting podcast and interesting project. My name is Olesya and Marushko. Just I guess a brief bio about myself. I'm a fourth-year dental student here at Poznan University of Medical Sciences. My background is Ukrainian, but I'm from Canada. I did my bachelor's degree at University of Toronto. So I'm here doing my dental degree and I'm loving it so far. So I'm excited to answer any of your questions. I guess Olena can take it away.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Taha, for inviting us. It's a pleasure. So, as mentioned, my name is Olena, and I'm a fourth-year dental student at Poznan University of Medical Sciences. I'm Olesya's sister. So we're both Ukrainian Canadians. Yes. But I'm also a registered self-initiated dental hygienist from Canada. So this is my also second degree here in Poland. And here at PUM, as I'm president of Dental Student Association and involved in some other extracurricular activities, but maybe we can talk about it later.
Yes, you definitely will. Okay, so first off, you guys, can you tell me what inspired you to pursue dentistry? Can you tell me a bit about your journey?
I guess I can start off. Our journeys a little bit are different, but at the same time very alike. So our mom is a dentist from Ukraine. So she really inspired us to become dentists and pursue that career. For my personal experience, I really like the public health sector. So health and public health related and how that's related to dentistry, medical hair, healthcare, and how can it be, in a way, how can you as individuals help and bring a lot of these tools to those who are like in very unfortunate conditions or impoverished communities and so on, right? So from like the government, public health sector. So that kind of really tied in when I was doing my bachelor's degree and then the dental aspect for my mom, I guess. And then, it really pushed me into thinking a little bit more about dentistry. And we decided to go together. Alana was doing her dental hygiene school. She already finished it, was working, so she can tell you a little bit more about that. Yeah, and then we opened a company together. So we have a company called O2 Smiles Corporation. It's a Canadian registered company. And we did a lot of initiatives, traveling abroad, doing a lot of these public health projects that are related to dentistry itself. So that really kind of keyed in and helped us see where we want to go with our lives and other initiatives in the future. So.
Yes. Yeah, I think like overall, from early childhood, I think because of the family we were been brought up and always visiting the dental
Brainwashed, we say.
No, but in a good way, it's always it was actually very enjoyable. I can speak for myself, always going to the dentist office with mom and then seeing how patients are happy after, and the presents they bring for satisfied work. So that was I think what for the kids, especially when you're like raising them to see this, like benefits of the extra benefits of the profession. But yeah, but later on, I pursued dental hygiene. In Canada, there's like a little bit different route for dental hygienist. You can go and study right after high school, So you don't have to do your bachelor degree if you don't want to have Bachelor of Dental Hygiene. You can go. There is a 3-year program. There is 18 months program. I attended the condensed fast forward program, which is 18 months. There's no holidays, no breaks. You start and you finish. And then I worked for quite a few years and really enjoyed it. But together with Olesya, we decided after opening our company, let's do something more. Let's study
Hands-on.
the industry. Yes, yeah.
I would say it's a one thing I can add to that. Um, it's just a very interesting profession where you have the best of both worlds. You have um, the business aspect, which is major in dentistry, and then also you have the healthcare aspect. So it's you can combine both these things, and yeah, so it has a lot of benefits, I guess.
Okay, that sounds like a very tough journey for both you guys, but I'm guessing you're enjoying this journey since, well, your parents are dentists, and hopefully that's
Just
your
your mom.
just your mom. Okay,
Yeah.
so mega brainwash. I see that.
So halfway brainwashed, not
Halfway
fully.
brainwashed. Okay, so when you guys moved to Poland, how has your experience been pursuing dental studies in Poland, and how would it differ from the dental schools you have in Canada?
Okay, I mean, I can't really say from personal experience because I was not enrolled in that program in dentistry, but I have colleagues that some of them that did their degrees or friends that are like pursuing them still in Canada or US. US and Canada have a very similar North American vibe in terms of dental schools. So but what I can say is that there's a lot of opportunities if you look for them here in Poland. So what do I mean with that? Like, for instance, you have so much patience here. You have so much exposure. For instance, like in the first and second year and third year, we have so many MD courses, and in a way, we might be nagging when we're doing them, but it's honestly like a blessing in disguise. You get to see a lot of interesting surgeries. You get to be in the OR. You get to even assist if you're in good connections with a doctor and you show that you're a reliable like student. Um, so you would not necessarily get any of these experiences. You would not see the MD aspects of surgeries like vascular surgery, for instance. Not even close in in Canada. So for we work here with closely with the maxillofacial surgery department. Maybe we can get that a little bit in depth of it and later in the podcast about it. We do a lot of research projects there, and they have a lot of like surgeries related to maxillofacial. We get to assist. We get to help the doctors. We get to see a lot of the patients there. So a lot of these like freak trauma accidents, cancer patients, and all that. So what I can say, like conclude, is that you would not see that. Like you would not be able to see the specialty aspects from a regular dental school in Canada or US, at least from my knowledge. Don't quote me on that, but from what I've heard, just from what I heard from my colleagues and friends, I can say that.
Yeah, I would say similar idea. I worked as a dental hygienist with like dentists who graduated the degree in Canada, and it varies from school to school. Everybody's different. The curriculum they provide. I would say that there's fixed amount of patients you see. There's less of leeways that you can bring your own patient on extra time. It's a little bit more strict, I would say, and because they do have more students, like every year has over 100 students, so they for sure they cannot accommodate extra hours for individuals. But overall, again, like as I mentioned, it depends on individuals. There is, I would say, dentists who graduated from Canadian, or I know who graduated from like New York dental school, and they come after graduating and they're worried, they're scared, they haven't had enough patients, that even though maybe they were provided good and practice on the typodonts and the mannequins, but because they didn't have this much of patient experience, they're still worried. You can see their hands shaking. So that's when they come to work, they do need supervisors, and you know, it's a learning experience also after the graduating. So I think what's good about Poland is that here, if you're willing to have more experience, see these more patients, and you're willing to spend your free time, you can find ways and you can ask professors to help you with that. So in a way, I even believe that we are more prepared practically here than from the other schools.
I mean, there's pros and cons in every school. Just maybe add at that, there's obviously different standards in different countries and all that. But one thing takeaway, I would say, lots of opportunities here.
Definitely. Okay, so you guys were telling me that you guys started a company called O2 Smiles. Can you tell me a bit about that company?
Sure. Okay, I can say a little bit and leave some for Olena to say, I guess. So the idea, maybe I can start with the name. It's gonna be a sappy one, so get ready. Anyway, so the idea behind the name is, as you can see, both our names are Ole. Our parents were very creative. So that's why we did the O, and then the two, hence is a little bit logical. So because there's two of us, and then how we do our logo is like O2. There's a subscript, so it's a little down, so it looks like an oxygen element, right? So
Mhm.
O2 smiles, right? So we're essential, like oxygen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a quirky one, but yeah, I mean, like we started thinking we were on the path of very similar. She was in hygiene, she was doing hygiene work, I was doing my undergrad, and I was more concentrated, as I mentioned, in like the public health. I did a biology specialist degree, did some projects, outreach projects at the department there. So I mean, like it was a nice time to kind of combine our efforts and do a little bit more for the community and see if what we can do like in our spare time for other people. Like for instance, Olena, maybe you can talk a little bit like our trip with Dominican, right? Where we did yeah. Go ahead, Olena.
So
I'll pass
even
on the
even though our company Autospas is a corporation, it's a business. It's not non-profit, but nevertheless, we do lots of volunteering and help out. I think we started out. I think now 5 years ago. 5 years is our company.
yeah,
We
there's some
started out with
Dominican.
yeah, with the trip to the Dominican. It's my colleague from she was actually my professor from dental hygiene school. She founded Smiles Foundation. It's very known foundation, a nonprofit which helps non like underprivileged population in Dominican with dental care. And it's not only those like quick trips that you go there, you do some extractions, fix some teeth, and you leave. No, it's more a stable project. Now it's over 20 years of work that she has been constantly helping them, and she has built the dental offices in Dominican Republic together, working with the government there. And on regular basis they provide free dental treatment for the underprivileged population there. And what we help is contacting like dental companies at the beginning to help to kind of instigate so they donate their products to her foundation, and then later on they would be shipped to Dominican. Also, we went like did some lectures, seminars, and different aspects, either from instrumentation and dental hygiene or infection control, which is a crucial, and in a country where there's very at first there was like a low standard, but over time they built it, and it became better, right? So with that help, and later on with the war starting in Ukraine, so we were also helping a little bit more, gathering supplies and medicine, especially during the first few months of full invasion of the Ukraine, where there was like they didn't have anything. So with the help of course of other volunteers, we helped to ship non like first aid medicine to help them, and later on like some food, some essentials. So something like that.
Yeah, so I think we're just starting off. So a lot of the stuff that we do, moving on with our career is kind of aligned with our company and a lot of our goals. So hopefully it will become something more. But
Okay, so I have a question to ask. So you have this company for like 5 years.
mhm.
So how did you come up with an idea to start a company, O2 Smiles? Like, what was the main thing that just gave you a push in that direction? Hey, let's start a company.
Mhm.
So can you tell me
I would
about.
I would say it's we were doing a lot of things maybe separately, but at the same time we had very similar goals, and it's something that it's a little bit more concrete when you do it together and you do it under one umbrella, and it becomes a little bit more standardized in terms of what you're doing, I guess. So we had a lot of ideas, and we still have a lot of ideas to implement, and we thought about it like if we're implementing all these ideas and doing these little like projects here and there, just based on our experiences, like why be it like a solo type of venture for just a like one time thing, while at the same time it can just be under something more bigger, and hopefully it can grow into um, something a little bit different. For instance, we're going to dental school, right? So hopefully finish and have a little bit more resources, time, and more knowledge to help more people.
Well, and in addition, like in terms of like other practical stuff, I think it's good to open your own company organization in terms of finances. Like both of us were working as well at that time, and I was working as a dental hygienist, and then in terms of the balancing money and income tax purposes, it is always better to have a company which helps you get employed better as well,
I mean, because she's self-registered, right? So it's a little bit different. Like if you take into account like here in Poland, you're technically not allowed to practice if you don't have a company. So every individual, maybe someone who's a little bit more experienced can talk about this stuff, like a Polish lawyer, a Polish dentist here is working. But from what I know and what information we gathered, it's like it goes like this. Basically, you have to register yourself as a company. So you are in essence a company that is registered, and you have to do that before you when you start working in Poland. So here, I guess as a dentist, everyone needs a company. But
I think for medicine it's a little bit different. And so going back to the first point we mentioned, that dentistry goes hand in hand a little bit with the business side.
yes, like
Okay, so ever since you guys joined Poznan, you established a dental student organization. So can you tell me about that organization?
so there's two actually organizations, right? So there's Dental Student Association, um, which thankfully we did not found. It was here a long time. It's growing and prosperous. I don't know the year when it was founded, maybe since the English program was around, so many years, I think. And then we founded the Dental Student Specialties Organization.
Hmm.
So what the premise of that was is that we had Dental Student Association. We were when we came in first year, we were the delegates. There's delegates like in first year, and then you apply for executive board. And then I was vice president, then president last year, and trustee this year. And then Olena was delegate, vice president, and president this year as well. So what we found when we were like in that association, we found there was like a little bit of a distance between, like, for instance, what we were doing and what the Polish side was doing, because we have an equivalent Polish side, right, of dentistry. Like, we are only a small sector English, and then there's a humongous program of the Polish students who also have Polish professors, they're Polish, right, classmates, and so on. So what we thought, it would be very nice to integrate these departments and don't cause a lot of these, like, have these barriers, and have an organization that's also educational, but at the same time can merge two departments together into working on a lot of common goals. And that's how Dental's student specialty organization was, like, the idea came about. It was myself, Elena, and our other colleague and friend, Aya, Kais. And so the idea was also to have it a little bit more formalized. So we had different specialties with different aspects. So for instance, there's not just like a general perspective of dentistry. We focused on conservative specialties, endodontics, right? Dental surgery, prosthodontics, pediatrics, so on. So we have different branches of dentistry, and then we have representatives from both the Polish and the English side. And then we offer a lot of workshops, especially the hands-on stuff. So yeah, I think that might summarize a little bit of that. I think maybe Elena can add a little bit more if you have anything to say.
Yeah, like just overall, also like the structure of the association and the organization is a little bit different. And as Olesya mentioned, so we have the delegates. As there, we have the specialties representative. They have more freedom in terms of organizing different events and concentrating on the specialties they want to pursue. As if the other one, also with the association, a lot of concentration goes into, especially since it is for the English division, concentration goes into qualifying back into your home country. So those equivalency exams, board exams, how to go back to your home country, what type of tests, papers you need to prepare. So a big chunk of the association and the student association is dedicated for this, as if like you can divide it easily for the other one. It's more hands-on, more practical, seeing more patients, practicing more on patients, and interacting more with the Polish division.
Yeah, so there's some, for instance, like you probably have encountered this one as well. It's like there's some companies who want to only tailor with, like, more Polish students and then English students after, right? So that kind of gave us a lot of opportunities as well at hand to bring out a lot of innovative stuff for students here, and then also have it again for the English students. So companies, like, with these things, like if you're getting these initiatives, or professors want to do these lectures, or companies want to come in, there's always some incentive. I don't know if unfortunately or realistically, but I mean, it's life. So you have to have an incentive for doing something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these companies find the incentive as being the Polish student population. And that makes a lot of sense because that's their target market, right? So they are the dentists that will stick around in these locales, in these areas, and will work, right? And most likely will use their product. So there's that connection as well. And then we do have seminars and workshops that are just tailored for Polish students, and then vice versa for English students. And that's, yeah, so our organization kind of helped a little bit establish the ability to do, like, a lot of continuous workshops and do a lot of hands-on experiences, like Elena said.
Okay, so since you established this organization, so what have been the most important or the key rewards and challenges you've faced while working within this organization?
I think the word I would say for me personally is the ability to really kind of have a deep dive in a lot of these specialties. So if you have, for instance, like our other organization, it was more general. Now we have like branches of specialties, and we have people that work specifically for those branches of specialties, students, and they are motivated to find tailored projects and tailored seminars and tailored workshops just specifically for those specialties. And that kind of gives a little bit of an organized manner. So I would say what I'm happy about it, what was a success, is that there's a lot of workshops that came out of it. So a lot of students got to do a lot of these interesting workshops that you cannot do during like class. For instance, we had an implant workshop. So second years and third years, I think it was third year students. Yeah, third year students we got to, and fourth years and fifth years got to do their first implants. Obviously not on people, but we had the company came with all the implants, and then there's bone, and then we drilled it in, and even the feeling. A lot of people don't get a chance to do a lot of these neat things, or some like different techniques for endodontics, or some other techniques for conservative that you just don't get a chance to practice when you have classes. So something more innovative and more like on the highest stream of things in dentistry that we welcomed into the university, I guess, of these a lot of initiatives. And it also, I would say, another success is that a lot of students got excited. So I think motivation is also a good thing. If it provokes people to do extracurriculars and do something extra, it's always good. And then, and you get to connect with a lot of Polish department students. So I feel like we got to meet a lot of new friends and become friends with a lot of the Polish side. So it just really was a more welcoming situation, and you find out what their interests are and how their department works. And then for the challenges, for me personally, I would say challenge was initially starting. So like having the ability to kind of see what works and what doesn't work. So initially, I think we had a lot of ideas, and we had a lot of things planned, and I feel like at the end realized that we needed to pace it a little bit because there was at some point, I think there was a bombardment of ads that we were trying to throw at people where they can come for like these workshops, because we had like seminar after seminar, workshop after workshop, and that was maybe a little bit too much for students. So I think that was a challenge to find that balance, right? Okay. Well,
I would actually look at this a different way. I would
okay.
say,
Awesome
I would,
perspective.
yeah. I think the initiation of the organization was a big success. Even though there was some lots of work and sleepless nights, but registering it with we had to go through the lawyers approvals and registering with the university, not only with the English division, because the English division is a branch of the university, but going through to the deans and rectors and getting their approval in a language that is actually third language for us.
Hmm.
So that was a little bit challenging, but at the end, after working through this, it was truly satisfying to find out that it was approved and registered. So it was very nice. And after the approval, we have joined the student union of the Polish division, which opened the door for us to many other initiatives, new friends, and yeah. So it was very nice, very nice. But as with any initiative or this project, you have to work hard. So I would say that's the only negativity and downside. Maybe for some is you have to dedicate your free time a little bit to this, right? So working a little bit more hours, and but you have different friends, so we can organize other parties and incorporate those into your organizations. So there's ways you could say that. Turning your organization not only into strictly that's what we have done. Like, it's not only strictly work and hands-on. We also organize social events for the students, right? Some parties, get-togethers.
Well,
So
there should be a catchphrase: "Work hard, party hard," right? For under.
Yeah. Okay.
exactly, it's not that boring. It's not only work, but
Yeah.
we can use this and spin around. So there's some other
With
enjoyment.
like-minded, yeah. Mhm.
Exactly.
Okay. So, when you first started the dental student specialization at the time of its inception and currently, what would you say the major differences have been? Like, how has this organization evolved?
Major differences have as it evolved. I feel like in terms of its evolution, I'm trying to find a good way to explain this, but I would say it has been pretty like even on average. Like, this is technically our second year of this organization.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of its evolution, I would say connections. The system itself, I think we didn't really alter it that much in terms of like who's working for what and all, and so on. We did have a little bit. We realized that some specialties are not as popular, so we would have to we combined them a little bit differently with different titles, but we still had those organization specialty breakdowns where we would still focus on, like, if an event came up, we would just do the logo specifically for that specialty and so on. But we did rearrange our staff a little, like not staff, but like student body. I'm using corporate terms, I guess. No, like just student body, our friends, like, everyone's a team. It's not, there's no whatever president, vice president. It's like we're all students. We're all equals at the end of the day. The names are just funny things that we make up at the end of the day. So we just, collectively get together, have a meeting, and like, hey, okay, so what? The biggest question that we always try to throw at, like in the meetings when we're discussing things, is like, what do you want? So you're dedicating this time, wasting maybe your Saturday afternoon instead of relaxing, watching Netflix or whatever you want. You're dedicating your time for this meeting, right? So what is your priority? What is your goal? Like, what do you want to do in this organization, and what do you want to see? So I think the biggest incentive for people who join and want to work on these extra projects is the incentive that they can realize, like, with the help of what we can do, is like help you basically have a workshop that you actually want. So that's, I think, what we realized is that, like, asking your team and asking your students, engaging, like, what is something interesting for you? Like, do you think, like, we can arrange this thing, let's say, theoretically, but would you see any benefit of it, or do you actually even want it, right? So that will kind of gave, I think, an incentive for people to, if they're interested in having some extra information or having some extra opportunities or seeing something innovative, we're like, okay, we'll, work on it together, reach out to these companies, see what we can work on. And if they agree, I mean, that's awesome. That's a win for everyone, right? You learn. So I would say the growth is that we started to understand more what students, like, what we want, right? Like, what people who work like on these projects want, and kind of give them the green, like the light and the way to go and do it in a lot of ways. And that's, I think, instead of like saying like, hey, maybe let's do a project for periodontology or like something else. I'm not saying periodontology is not important. It is very important, but like I'm just giving it as an example. Like, instead, we would work on and brainstorm some ideas that they actually want to do. And then, no, not to be redundant, I would say another point is, I guess, connections. So I think in the second year on, we got for sure more connections. The first year was the most difficult in terms of finding companies and finding doctors that would actually trust us to, like, this is a new organization and there's like PTSS that's established and it's national. And like, who are you guys? Are you guys like a made up name, not associated with it? So do you have all
PTSS
the
means Polish Student Association, Dental Association.
Yeah, okay, yes, yeah, good. Yeah, they have all their branches and all these different they're national, so they have branches in all the maybe you probably have it, right? The PTSS.
Yeah, we have something similar to that. Yes.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, I don't have to explain that. But so that's something for doctors and companies that work here, especially like if you say you're from there or you're part of the organization, I mean, there's no problem, there's no barrier, right? But when you're like starting off new and you're especially an English student, um, there you start finding so many barriers, like why would I invest my time for this organization, student organization? Why would I would do it for international students, But now, after working with a lot of these like awesome companies, awesome representatives, they gave us these opportunities to our team. Yeah, I feel like we built a roster of some connections. So hopefully they stay around, and then we can do something later in the years. The
Yeah,
year, I guess, next year.
it was a big challenge to prove it on not only like before even establishing the association is like what's different about your association compared to what have been already running like the PTSS, right, the Polish side, and here we had the association, so we really had to provide them good points into differentiating what's special about this and what we can bring to the table, what we can sh- help the students with, and in terms of evolution for the especially compared to the first year, as I mentioned, like building it up. Second year, even though it's like it's a short time, we're still existing compared to like some other like PTSS for maybe 50 plus years is almost national, right? And the funding that they are provided from the student union is nothing compared to what we are getting, right? Is one of our achievements was organizing a dental company, uh, um, uh, together with like organizing different events with these dental companies and then bringing them from the first year to opening up a dental conference, which we, Olesya, myself, and our friend Aya organized at the beginning of this year, so in November in November of this academic year, right? So we invited the doctors we worked with, the companies we already worked with, and we organized 2 days of different workshops, seminars, webinars, and social events for the students of the English and Polish division, so they can come and participate. And one of the other important things was that we didn't charge any fees for the participation. So this was, I think, one of our achievements that would really helped us, that we had this organization working with the other dental student association that helped us organize this dental conference for students, also helped us to invite international guest speakers and celebrities to join our events. So it was like very beneficial. And compared to like the first year just starting off, like the second year was much more bigger tasks to tackle.
Okay. So, what would you say are the key initiatives and events you have, basically spearheaded when you established this organization?
I
Like,
can
I remember you guys saying like something about dental implants. So, tell me a bit more about these initiatives.
I mean, like I mentioned, we had different specialties, right? So, and we really tried, like our team, um, every year is different. Everyone applies for different positions, right? But all in all, like all teams throughout the years are amazing. A lot of great students working hard to find a lot of these um connections on their like in their spare time. So we got a lot of different opportunities our way. Like for instance, you wanted to a little bit know the company of the implants. Yeah, so there's a company of the implants with our doctor, Dr. Lipsky. He works closely with them and the doctor in our department, and we arranged together with him and all and his help and everything to bring like all the equipment that they provide for these implant courses, and they provide the materials of the bone, the pig jaw, right? It was. And then we would practice how to properly screw in the implant. So we did seminars beforehand that prepped us for the workshop, and then we had the workshop itself. It's just basically the components of the implant and how you're supposed to properly screw it in into the bone and to what degree. And then we also did flaps. We tried doing that as well. It's a little bit like it's hard to do because it's not necessarily too realistic, but it's an awesome starting point for students. And a lot of students don't even see these stuff until they graduate, right? So it was like awesome to deal with that and have that experience on hand. And then what else did we do? We did a Stern Weber, for instance. It's a company with a lot of like dental chairs, dental units. 2 times now we have done this where they invite us to Warsaw. So we travel to Warsaw to their company. They pick us up. They host us. They feed us. They show us all the premises. Yeah, and they have a seminar and they invite guest speakers to the event. They give us good goodie bags. We talk about sterilization and all that stuff. It's all like awesome experience and like having and they give us certificates from even the owner comes in all the time and greets us. And it's like a really massive company from like Poland, right? And the branch here. And then honestly, it's like an amazing experience to even talk to a lot of these individuals who are leading these awesome companies and have made like prominent success in the dental world. So you get to kind of get the opportunity to pick their brains, right? And ask these questions. And sometimes you don't even get to be in the same room with some of these people. So it, honestly, on it by itself, it's also very interesting. And then on top of that, we got to do a lot of extra work. Like for instance, you mentioned in the beginning, like you only have a limited amount of patients. So one of our department doctors, well, we arranged with them with their help extra hours. So we would have designated time where we would compile like rosters with students, and we did that with our dental student association as well in combination. And we would have like a roster of students from our school that wanted to have like dental treatment, and they would go to the department. So you as a student can practice even extra time. So extra time for what you already have on patients, right? Yeah, so I mean that's just a few to mention. From we also had like suturing, a lot of events, and what's a little bit different with these suturing events is that we had a company called Escalab, for instance. They're very known for like very awesome suturing equipment, right? So they're like state of the art, like stuff like that's awesome. Like when you're suturing, you can feel it's like nice. You can easily suture with the equipment, right? So they brought all their equipment, they brought their needles, they brought all the scissors, the forceps, the needle holders, and all that stuff. And yeah, so you got to work on a lot of these awesome equipment that maybe potentially you can work and buy in your dental practice. Yeah, so I mean, we also had
Many
loops.
more, many more. We
I
can we
mean,
can
there's
talk until the morning through
oh, probably
everything.
like we can mention about the photography. I think that's another thing that's interesting in dentistry, right? So that's something that's expanding right now. It's like you're on Instagram and you're scrolling. I don't know if you get a lot of that on the feed. It's like, oh, before and then after. And then there's also an art to that, right? So someone had to take the picture. And the question is, how do you properly take a picture? What equipment do you need to take that picture to make it look professional, and to really display your work in a nice manner? Because you can take the picture under like black light or whatever, like dim light, black, like not well lit room, or angle's not good and it's not gonna look aesthetic. And are your client, like potential clients, if they see that, are they gonna be willing to come? Well, I mean, I doubt it, right? Uh, if
Yeah, and
especially nowadays, it's all social media. Yeah, go ahead, Ellen.
yeah, and this was, we can go back like to the fact that as a result of our collaboration with the Polish division, because like this event with the photography, our colleague from the Polish division, she has recommended us to contact this professor. He's actually like a specialist. He's a dentist, but specializing in photography at the
Dental
different
photography, yeah.
university in Poland. And he opened his own course for the students, and the university there approved it. If I'm not mistaken, it's either it's further like Krakow or around Krakow. Is Krakow? It's like some
Something different, something
something
different.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can look it up after. But yeah, so she contacted him, and he came to our university, and it was so nice for him to provide the workshop for us. So yeah,
Yeah, I
like the
don't.
benefits of working with the Polish division is that they also know through social media, through contacts. Many of them have their parents here as dentists, so they hear about these things, like even though like we might know like about Canada more or the States, that those specialists, those doctors here locally, it, for especially international students or those who don't speak Polish, it might be a little bit difficult to find out connections and and contact these doctors. But through social media, you can for sure, once you know a little bit, once you know the locals, they can help you with managing and building
Finding.
these relationships. And another company that also is Polish, but they did it for us, both workshops in conservative dentistry and properly restoring aesthetically fillings that here at the based on our program, it doesn't go as much in depth. They provide like
But
sound and
barely any
yes.
when you
So
do
aesthetic
aesthetic
aspect
dentistry.
is additional workshops, additional courses, and also the other benefit is attending these workshops for students now while they're still in the university, is that it's much more cheaper. So some companies, they do provide workshops for free, but others that require, let's say, materials for them to purchase in order to provide these workshops, they only charge us specific amount to buy these products. They don't charge as much for their services as if you're a graduate and you after you become a dentist and you want to improve your skills. These workshops
Mm.
cost thousands of dollars. Like for
Mm.
Canada and Poland as well, they're quite
Of Zloty,
expensive.
yeah. I mean,
Yes.
it's like always I always say you have a golden card when you're a student. The student beside your name and like the label, I mean, use it because once you get the doctor beside your name, I mean, the real world hits.
Like
Like
for
Alana
us,
said, yeah, it's like
for
aesthetic industry, the fishers and all that stuff. It's you can even see them right now, and like, that's not something that's a little bit extra, and that's dentistry. Like that's not the standard in a lot of practices, right? To do these very aesthetic fishers or like veneers for sure, but like if you're doing a regular like occlusal filling, it's a little bit different. Sorry, Alana, you wanted to say something.
yeah, so in addition, we do encourage our students too, because like looking for me personally, I knew it from the beginning because as working as a hygienist, like we do have a continuing education courses that we always have to keep up with and have to pay for our career. And then looking at the dentist later, how they're like trying to improve their skills, and they're attending these courses. But I'm like, why not? Why were you waiting until you finish and graduate? Start now and use these benefits to improve yourself. Like, it's only you're your own teacher, and as much work you put into yourself, like, this is the final product. Right? We can depend only on whatever any university will provide, because it's a standard education. But if you want to be a little bit better, you want to be more proficient, you always have to do something additional, and your own weaker spots, where you need to practice more. Not everybody perfect at everything. So these courses like provide specific opportunities for those that specifically want to improve certain things, and so on. Yeah.
I'm going to quote you on that one. That's a good line. Okay, so over the span of 4 years for you guys, I've heard that dental students, especially the specialty service, has actually went for many different conferences all across Poland. And as I recall, you guys also visited Katowice a few days back for a surgical mission. So can you tell me a bit about that experience?
Um, so if I can ask, like, you mentioned first at the beginning about the conferences, yes, because I didn't hear it correctly.
Oh yeah, basically conferences and also a bit about the surgical mission that you guys went on.
Okay, so maybe
Yeah.
we split it up. I say conferences, you say surgical mission, so we'll
Okay,
save time.
so we're not repetitive. Sure,
We're
sure.
not gonna repeat ourselves in two different fonts. But yeah, so I would say for conferences, we've been doing that for a while now. We started from technically first year. We like I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, we work closely with the maxillofacial surgery department. Like, I'm the president for the research group, and Alana is the vice president there. And we work on a lot of research projects, a lot of case reports primarily, and some original papers coming around. So we usually like get these case reports, right, from the doctor. We describe them, we make a presentation, and we go up to these different conferences. So every year we would go for Łódź, and we would do one in Poznań. This year, that's from first year we did that, and then this year we well, yeah. So from technically second year, but we started the research group. I'll correct myself, and first year, and then so this year we also did Warsaw. So we did three different locations.
Warsaw, Wood,
Poznań.
and Poznan.
Yeah. So I mean, like, in terms of what I can explain with the conferences itself, it's research conferences, so they're really standard. You go through the submission process. Yeah, basically you submit your abstract, they qualify you, they accept you. And then after exception, you do a presentation there. So you go there and present your work. You have a panel of doctors. Usually they try to match it with your field. Sometimes here or there, like, they won't, they're hit and miss. But yeah, so for instance, we present a lot of the times for surgery, right? So you'll have a panel of a lot of surgeons, like 4 to 5 maybe surgeons, and then after you have presentation. That's only, you have limited time to say what you want to say, and then they start asking you questions. So yeah, they start picking your brain on the case that you're presenting, the surgery, what entails, like, why is this important, what's the takeaway messages, and so on. So, and then they, huddle, compare your work to everyone else's, I guess, and then they publish the results. So we got lucky in a lot of ways that we got a lot of placements throughout the years, a lot of first places, a lot of second places, third places. So we've been on a good record, our group. I would say that our supervisor is happy, and that's all that matters, right? But yeah, and
But
then we
not
also did
only
this year.
not only Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. So this year we also did dental surgery. So our together with our colleague Aya, we were working with our another doctor. She's as well awesome. So she helped us with a lot of like having a lot of like original works, for instance, presenting a lot of projects that we helped out a little bit here and there, and got a chance to like represent the work in a lot of these conferences. So there was Sjogren's syndrome, and linked with xerostomia. There's a lot of supernumerary stuff that we did, some case reports as well. So yeah, I mean, like I feel like it was a good, if it's a good run, but what I would say maybe take away from these conferences aspects, moral of the story, I would say go for it. Now, a lot of people like are nervous in terms of public speaking, and it's at least for me, it doesn't get easier. It's a nervous wreck, but but I guess it's just whatever puts you out of the comfort zone is always good in my head. When you know when you're too comfortable, that means it's time to move on to something else. So yeah, I mean, go for it. Put yourself on the spot a little bit with doctors. Test your knowledge, what you know and what you don't know. And from our experiences, it was good. So we would advise it.
Yeah, and there's some conferences have a party component after.
Oh yeah. For the student
Yes,
life, yeah.
yeah,
It's the
exactly.
maybe the theme of should be work hard, party hard. The name of this podcast,
You
this
know,
episode.
work hard, party hard. Pretty good,
Yeah,
yeah. Because if you want to be,
yeah.
you have to party. I mean, that's rule number one, yeah.
Exactly. It's the
You know,
episode
you
theme.
have this stress building up in you, and then you know you have to have somehow let it go. You know, dance
You
it
need
all
an
out.
outlet. You need an outlet for sure. Yeah. But also, like, I would have to add one more thing about it is like you get to see a lot of like cool stuff. It's like these case reports are very like freak accidents, or like or super interesting, or there's some innovative stuff. So you're in the forefront of a lot of stuff that's not in the textbooks, right? So
Hmm.
not something that's talked about, and you get to present it, and you get to write it, and you get to be a part of the um, entire scientific process of where you're adding to the knowledge, right? And you're building a roster of stuff that's still maybe not out there, and it's beneficial for future surgeons or dentists or doctors um, who check these articles. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
fun experience. As for the surgical mission, well, it's actually a long journey for the surgical mission. It started first with back in 2014 when Russia just started invading Ukraine, and they've been working. Basically, you have surgeons from Canada and working together with Ukrainian surgeons, and they treat very complicated cases. The ones that traumatized, like injury in ward, and unfortunately, the level of specialty in Ukraine was not um, enough to provide full surgeries, full healing for those patients. So they have a connection with the Canadian surgeons, neurosurgeons, physicians, and they've been going few times to Ukraine at the beginning, and they're working at the hospitals there. But with the full scale of invasion in Ukraine, they actually this mission was able to build a branch in the hospital here in Poland, right? And they shipped all their equipment here, and they're also working with the Polish doctors and the surgeon here. But also the goal as well is to train the Ukrainian surgeons to provide to do these complicated surgeries like facial reconstruction, and there's many more,
Plastics,
even,
a lot of it.
yeah, even from like small things like caring about the wounds, the bandages, the properly wrapping, and it goes a long way, because we have in Canada, there's like in North America, they have a little bit different standard of care. compared to like Ukraine. So
But
it's a very
also
good experience for them, like to teach them. This is one of their mission. One of the mission is to help and treat the soldiers and or people who've been injured by rockets and by shrapnel and things like that, but also for the
civilian.
staff, yeah, for the civilians, but
No,
also
I
for
would also add that it's not only just the training, it's also like there's a discrepancy in like what they have available. Like they don't have the same equipment. They don't have the same like type of brands of bandages even like to use for like specific techniques. Like it's just not there as now like at this point in time. And hopefully it'll change. But that's also one thing. It's just they don't have the equipment.
so our part in this, and our good family friend, she's a nurse in the mission, and she has been going there for many years and helping and volunteering, and we always wanted to join and help out as well. So we applied, sent our resume, and all the work that we do here at the university as well, with the maxillofacial department, with the patients at the maxillofacial department, and we sent the resume to the mission, and she has forwarded to the administration for us. So it was very helpful, and since she's a nurse there, she helped us at the beginning, like with adjusting and showing things around, and later on worked with the plastic surgeons. We have monitored, like observed the surgeries there, helped throughout the whole checkout, help communicate with the patients, because you have the Canadian staff who, many volunteers that come with these missions, they don't speak Ukrainian or they're non-Ukrainian, so they're just purely English. And a big aspect is also translation, so they do have some translators that come and help them to communicate with the patient, but
Came from
it's
like
never enough. So
there's
we
two
were
girls that came from Kiev, yeah. They just traveled for translation, then after they're also medical students and they went back
Yeah. So
after.
we were helping with communicating, and the only thing is, then the mission actually was lacking was there were no dentists. So there were like few patients who told us that they have dental problems, and the surgeons were like, for us it seems normal, like, we're not specialists in dentistry, the teeth look fine, but our patients are complaining of pain, and we prescribed him amoxicillin, like, antibiotics for 7 days, and we'll see how it's gonna go. But do you think it's worth of for the patient, if he has no infection, to actually continue with antibiotics? So actually, it's a long story with this patient, but just to summarize it, um, it's good to have every branch and of specialties, and dentistry is also a very important aspect in preventing pain and proper treatment of patients.
I
So
mean, especially if you're doing like uh I think after they were saying that they're gonna like for next missions maybe like implement more done like dentists into their mission because I mean they're dealing with like intense facial reconstruction, right? And the worst thing you can have is like if you have an infection from a tooth, and that's gonna impair everything, like healing and all that, right? So so I mean that's something I think they're gonna implement for um the other I guess missions that they have every year.
Well, I hope that whoever listens to this podcast now takes part in those missions because of you guys. So it's really admirable job, you know. Well,
No, I mean they're doing amazing. I mean we didn't really do much. We can't really like give any we can take away from all the work they do. They spend like a lot of time there, and all the surgeons we have to say they take it from their own like vacation days. So they're all on this is their vacation. It's not like a paid like venture in a lot of ways. So it's just the goodness of the heart. professionals going out of their way, traveling in different country, and a lot of them have nothing related to Ukraine whatsoever, no backgrounds, anything, and they're like here, and it's just awesome. And then it's also a very team effort, so a lot of props to them and like hats down. Um, they seem like when we were there talking to them, it's just like a big family.
Yeah.
But they're
Many
again
many
together
of them,
one
yeah,
one more
they
year.
have the surgeons, they bring their own assistants as well. So for during surgery, surgery assistants, and it's better, more efficient work for them because they already like work for many hours in Canada together
Many
there.
days,
So they just come.
years actually. It's like 20 years or something. Some of the nurses were saying that they worked with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Majority of the staff is from the Sunnybrook Hospital, and which is located in Toronto. Which is like they're very very nice team, and it was like for us it was a pleasure talking to them, and they were sharing a lot of stories as well, from the beginning of the mission and throughout, and how they see the patients recover, and it's truly it's like warm for the heart, when you see that your work can change
Yeah.
a
I
person's
mean, they're doing a lot of interviews. I think that was another initiative.
life.
They're working on getting like consent and having interviews to see the transition of some of the patients. There's a lot of like chronic cases. They've been working with them like for years after, and yeah, so it's like or they have like from like Alana said, civilians. There's another person that just said that he just like entire house collapsed on him because of a missile. And yeah, and then you see or soldiers that you wouldn't like they didn't record it because of privacy concerns and all that stuff because they're in the military. And yeah, it's horrific to see a lot of the stuff, but it's also like heartwarming that there's so much positivity among the patients and just the team all together working on it, and hopefully they take on more patients every year. So
Yeah, and actually, everybody has can donate money because it's established foundation, right? That is run. A lot of donations come from the population in Canada and from the government. Government in Canada also supports the mission. Actually, our ambassador from Canada to Ukraine came and visited the hospital as well herself this year. So if anybody wants to help out, donate funds, they would really appreciate it,
yeah,
right?
they
So we
use
have
it just the
platform.
funding for, yeah, they use the funding for, like I mentioned, it's like they do it out of like no salary type of thing, but they just do it for like, it would pay for a lot of the equipment and all the resources they would need.
Okay. So thank you so much for telling me about these surgical missions, and I hope people do donate to these causes. And okay, switching a topic a bit. So I want to get some dentistry insights from you guys. So what are the most like some of the interesting trends or technology that are coming out in dentistry that you guys are actually most excited about?
AI. AI is always on everyone's tongue because it's a very Alana's not excited about it. AI by her facial expressions. No, but no, honestly, I think AI is a awesome tool and hopefully will be used for the good of the of like dentistry in the field itself. I think we have a PhD program. I think there's an echo, yeah, but we have a PhD program, and one of the PhD students is working with like an AI perspective in dentistry, especially teaching AI, recognizing a lot of the um, different like caries on the X-rays and teaching your CT scans. I don't know the intricacy of what he's doing exactly, so I can't speak on that. But it's all just in general that topic itself. And there's a lot of companies that I would say are very close working with technologies like planned implants, So it's guided technology. So for instance, in implantology, there's guided ways of doing implants. It's been around for a bit, but I guess it's getting more and more popular nowadays. So it's getting more and more advanced, these software programs. So where you can, instead of doing like, let's say maybe manual, you have a guided aspect. So it plans your entire surgery out to like very minimal mistakes, and then it's all guided. So it reduces
Three
hopefully
measures.
yeah, it's a lot of these measures that would reduce the consequences of not doing the implant properly. I mean, maybe like implant plate failure, for instance, or any injuries associated with doing the implant itself. Yeah, so I mean, like, what I see from all in all, technology is helping to reduce maybe a lot of the potential side effects that patients might have with a specific treatment, or being a little bit either preventative aspects or precautious. Like if you're missing a dentist forgot their radiology class and missed something, maybe
But
they will help. Hopefully
but
not.
but
Uh,
never fully 100% depend
yeah,
on the technology, because technology can also, that's why Olesya, when she mentioned about AI, I was like, "Ah,
oh
I
no, a
don't
lot of
trust 100."
conspiracy theories come out
Yes,
on this podcast.
come on, people.
No, but
Exactly.
honestly, it's like one of the aspect would be also concerning if a dentist comes. You like I see it from a patient perspective. I come in and let's say my dentist, she's like, "Oh, wait, just give me a sec, give me a second. I'm gonna search up ChatGPT what I'm supposed to do next or whatever." Like I'll be like, "Oh no." So I think it can be a tool, but it can never be the source of your knowledge. Definitely, right? And like for majority of these things, and you can't really rely. Like, I mean, I think if it becomes like if they start making mistakes and stuff and all this stuff, at the end of the day, if you're a doctor and you're practicing, you have that doctor um degree and the doctor behind your name, and you should be responsible for the patient, not the software itself. So
I know
yeah.
now dentists are trying to buy these programs that help
Mm.
to analyze the X-rays for them, and in detecting specifically where the cavities are. But again, could be a little bit subjective, because one dentist might find the small cavity as to put it on treatment as observation. And if the patient, because the I can, they don't know 100%, like right now, you can't analyze the patient how good in their oral hygiene, if they're brushing, flossing. If it's a small cavity, and then you see that this patient is not caring about their teeth, not flossing, not brushing, and they're not going to, you have seen them for a few years, and you know that he's not going to change his oral habits because you've been talking to him for the past 5 years and it's still the same thing. So it's better to fix that cavity before it gets bigger. As if it's, I may just like say, oh, observation, maybe it's a small cavity, and thing. There's many nuances in everything, but actually, there is also another research. I think it's in China. They're testing a medication, a drug,
Oh, I
pill
saw
that
that. I saw
the
that. Yeah.
patients on people now. So now on people that will help to regenerate regrowth of the tooth, so the hard tissue, right? So we have the enamel, the dentin. So this is
I
quite.
think they were looking at the enamel, right? Or something
In the
regenerating.
past years, they've been always talking about tests on like rats and stuff, help to from the tooth bud, right? So when we have like the thing, first we have tooth bud, and then tooth bud develops into a tooth over the years. So they've been trying to implant the tooth buds into the rats and help them to grow
A
the
germ.
fully like into a tooth, right? But it has never been done still on humans. So this is another one. We'll see how it's going to develop. There's many medication that helps to like regenerate a little bit the dentin, the pulp, but as to like fully regrow the structure. So it will be interesting to see what we will
An
come up
eye on
with.
it.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
that's where
Another,
our downfall of dentistry comes in.
yeah. I think we'll still have our profession. I
Yeah.
don't think there will be no magic pill yet.
I
to
don't know,
cure all your
maybe
dental problems, but because there's always will be bacteria, you
just
always need
regrow them.
cleaning, you need to brush your teeth, you need deep scaling, you need
Yeah.
debridement, polish your teeth from stains, from coffee, from smoking,
Mm.
for some people.
I
And
was scared.
I'm not a smoker. I'm fine with that. Just gonna hide this right here. Okay. So, how do you see the roles of dental professions being evolved over the next decade?
Hmm. I mean,
Don't say ChatGPT.
um,
ChatGPT is not allowed to say.
yeah,
no,
I mean,
I
it
I
depends
think
on how next year, like
I hope
what extent the
I hope
years are. Yeah.
maybe if you're talking about in terms of like the patient treatment, I think overall population is being more educated now on properly caring about especially population that is in urban areas, maybe not so much rural, but again with the AI we're trying to reach more people. And there's programs like volunteering programs that we go to these like villages, towns, that we help. Again, education is a big aspect. And overall, compared to like back in the days where people wouldn't brush their teeth, they didn't know like what a floss is, right? Now it's evolving. And especially like
I mean,
in
some people still don't know flaws, so
yeah, but if you let's
yeah.
say we're comparing the content, like the because it differs depends on the content. In like American continent, especially like in urban areas, it's a thing. Like it's a culture that you have to go for your cleaning, not just to go to your dentist because you have pain. You go to your dentist for a checkup, to clean your teeth, just to make sure that everything is okay. You want to hear, oh, you're fine, and then so move on with your life. In Europe, it's still a little bit behind, but especially with like the oral care, and there's still a little bit. Oh, maybe I'll wait, some herbal remedies, medicine, and then I'll go for treatment. So, but it's getting better. Like from what we have talked to, like the experienced dentists, doctors, that professors, compared how it was few years now, it's getting better, especially in Poland. In like dental school here, patients have free dental treatment, so they do encourage them. Like if you don't have money, if you're like from lower class, and it's important to go for your cleaning, for your checkup, for fillings. Come even to the dental students, get your things done and things like that. So overall, I think, well, that dentistry will evolve, and we will have hopefully more not as invasive treatments, maybe just like
I think
maintenance. More
public
people will be
health.
educated.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think public health is like very key. Like if you do preventative medicine or preventative dentistry, it would solve a lot of the issues, right? And the burden on the medical field and dental field in general. So I think public health is like if you invest a lot of finances and funds into that aspect and changing the mentality of people, like Alana said, you would prevent a lot of the percentage what we have now. We have a high percentage in Poland of tooth loss, right? So there's a lot of extractions that come in where the patients are like very young, right? And then what they don't have any more teeth, and then they can't afford implants, and then they have to go for prosthetics. They have dentures, and then they're and dentalists. They don't have any more. It's an entire like it's a downhill spiral, right? So I think the root of it is just lack of education on the subject. So public health is the way to go.
Okay, so since you guys are fourth years, you are checking like patients, right? So, have you ever encountered a patient who's actually afraid of dentists? And did you ever have an opportunity to deal with such patients? And how did you
Oh,
overcome their fear?
that's such an interesting question because me and Alana had a patient, and we still have him. He's a 28-year-old guy, female, and he came
It's
super
preying
nervous
on
to
him.
the, huh?
Mhm.
Sorry? Yeah. So he came to the department very nervous about his dental work. And then when we started doing the examination, we talked. Alana had him first, I think, and we swapped because we swapped in terms of being dentist role, assistant role, and so on. So all of his teeth are with cavities. Every single tooth. There's no one that's spared. It was like it was not a scene that's like it was good for him or for anyone. I mean, the problem is he was very like aware of the issue, but like as we started talking to him more and more, and he's like, I'm very nervous. Like the reason that I have like it's at this stage, that it went to this far that every tooth is like just like half of it is gone,
But
right? Half of the crown is gone. Um, yeah, so he was like very nervous in a lot of ways, but then the thing is like with these patients, I would say you have to talk. You have to talk with them, and communication is key. Um, Start that like build that relationship. Talk a little bit, make them comfortable, let them sit down. If they're not comfortable, stop the procedure. Don't force them to like continue it if they feel some discomfort or distress. And then as we slowly did it, even if like doing the fillings one at a time, we paced ourselves. And then like after he saw like one result, like I remember I was doing his incisors and I showed him like the mirror, he started crying because he's like he couldn't recognize himself, and it's like and he's like excited to book more appointments for to do the other fillings and stuff. And we started talking about like how to keep it up so he doesn't like reverse the process and make it even worse um in the future. And he's like he got more excited about like dental care and like buying new like electronic toothbrush, for instance, brushing like twice a day, using other like mouthwashes. We talked about floss and all that stuff, all that good stuff. So I mean, the the moral is that you really have to like take it slow with these patients. If you rush into it, I feel like
I
they
think
get
one
nervous.
of the important aspect is also dentistry, and even I think for if you're a GP, you have to be also psychologist all the time if you want to be a good professional, because like yeah, okay, with this patient it worked out like this. Maybe for some it will be totally different. Like Olesya also didn't mention he was also a paramedic student, so
I'm
he's
not
also
revealing any information, extra
no,
information, so you cannot identify him, Elena.
it's
No more
fine.
sharing.
Nobody knows. It could be any health. I had as a
Yeah.
hygienist many doctors actually, physicians doing cleaning, simple cleaning, and they would be afraid, and they would just make sure the gums don't bleed, or make sure you don't hurt me. But it's like you have to be like a psychologist in a way, like some you have to spend more time educating the process. For some you have to tell them before you start with the treatment what exactly you will use, which tools you will use, and they're like okay, they're mentally prepared for this. For others they're like okay,
Don't
because
mention the tools.
for others, let's say if they have some disabilities, or their phobia is so high, or they're on antidepressants, let's say, they would just come and bring their earpods and listen to music, and I would put just a blanket on them, and they would close their eyes, and they were like okay, just do whatever you need, and let me know, wake me up, I'm just gonna have like a little snooze here, wake me up when it's all done. So yeah, you have to be like a good psychologist. You have to kind of sense the patient at the beginning. You have to take a very good medical history, um, see what their past experiences were with the previous dentist. And a lot of them, they do share it, and they share what they didn't like with the previous dentist, or if they left, or if they didn't go to that, like whatever reason it is. It's also always good to like analyze it, and every patient has, I would say, like a little divergent of a average plan. We also worked in fourth year of another course. We have special needs course that where we treat patients with Down syndrome, with very severe cases. You know, some of them they can't communicate, so they come with their parents, and it's really a struggle. So you have to find ways. Lastly, like a few weeks ago, we had a patient who just, because he has been to the hospital, he was so scared of the nurses strangling him to take blood work that when he arrived to our dental school, seeing us in the uniform already gave him so much anxiety that he started panicking. You know, he
Oh,
started
because he
like,
was well, he was on the spectrum. He had
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
autism
uh,
spectrum disorder. So it's a little bit different with patients that have disorders. You have to so different, I would say, approach. But
but in general, like, you have to be a good psychologist to find ways, even those who have small fear, you know, to the ones that who have like just seeing you in the uniform and they're really scared. Yeah.
Okay. So, what would be the advice that you would give to the first year dental students that are considering a career in dentistry, if you have any?
uh, considering, I feel, like you have to be prepared. You have to understand that I feel like dentistry, um, our mom would always say this, like it's not that glorious as you might think. When you, it's not something, it could be like very romanticized from the aspect of like, oh, nice, like you're dealing with this, but it's a lot of work and it's a lot of like stuff that makes you maybe will put you in uncomfortable situations. Like Ilana mentions, dealing with all patients and all that. So you have to be really prepared and mentally like prepared with that. Especially incoming students, I would say, before you like decide to go into such a profession, maybe go and do some shadowing because a lot of students don't. I might be wrong, but from what I gathered, a lot of students who are coming straight from high school, let's say, um, don't haven't had like the experience of what dentistry is all about. They had only like some general idea on the internet, whatever. They didn't see it for what it actually is. So I would suggest, like one advice is before you commit to something like this major in your life, go at least do some shadowing, work as a like dental receptionist if they hire, see how the team works, see the hours of the dentist if you're willing to do and sacrifice a lot of the time and for that, and see how it is, how you work with patients, and how not a lot of people, for instance, like to talk to people and like to communicate to patients and are not as social or whatever. That's also something to consider because it's socially taxing in some ways, where you have to communicate, you have a patient back to back, and then every patient comes in, you have to do the entire spiel, like, how are you? Like, smile. It can be very negative, right? So you have to like understand the entire balance of all of that stuff. So I say conclusion, go and shadow. Get some actual, like, if you haven't before, just to see what it actually is.
Yeah. Um, I can add even like from my own experience, you know, when uh, from my story, as last I mentioned, like our mom was like saying that it's a very difficult profession, you know, especially like if you want to, if depends if what type of what life you want. If you want to have a career or if you want to have a family oriented life, you know, it also requires a lot of years of studying, right, and a lot of dedication, many hours of work. So these things would have to be subtracted from spending time with your family or your kids later. So this profession requires many hours and hard work. So like going back to our story, she recommended for me to do dental hygiene because it's also interactions with patients. Some might say, oh, how can you look at somebody's mouth for 12 hours every single day? And others will be afraid to approach the patient and sit that close to the patient, right? there's many things. Others are afraid of seeing blood and things like that. So she recommended for me, like, go to dental hygiene and see if this would be the career that you want to work with and strive towards and work towards later on in life. And after going through dental hygiene, I loved it so much. I liked the profession, and I worked for many years, and even it was hard for me to quit and continue later on to going back to school. But at the same time, because I liked it, continue education, it's also very important, right? So it's not easy, and many, some people who don't like dentistry. And but the good thing also about dentistry is, even if you don't like working with patients that close, there's other aspects. There's the research aspect, there's the business aspect, and you don't have to work by yourself. But as long as you achieve, like, you get your degree, diploma, you can open a practice and you can hire other doctors that could work for you, right? So there's these positives and negatives, but as Olesya mentioned, shadowing is very important. If you're 100% not sure, you can also go to dental assisting
Yeah.
school for a few months. You can become an assistant. And yeah, I'll just wrap up and stuff. Yeah, actually, a few colleagues of ours who done assisting, and they're like, even at the Polish division, it's very beneficial for them when they're in dental school now, because they have also they have already some education. It's easier for them to deal with patients. And the other aspect is, when you have free time, um, during Christmas break, Easter, like a summer break, you can go and work. You can earn money. So it's not that because as a dentist, right, you can't practice until you get your diploma and your license. Only then you can get money. But through the time while you're a student, because it's a lengthy process, it's also beneficial to have this opportunity. We can go assist, and not only experience, but also some money, a little bit, for some expenses. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are students and you're working like so much all the time. I mean, you have your own company and organization, attending conferences left and right, presenting, scaring little children away. So, my question is, how do you guys balance this whole situation with your school and the rest of your activities?
You don't. You don't sleep. No, jokes aside. I mean, that's my dark humor coming in. But I you just find ways. I mean, like, you use a lot of association. Just surround yourself with people that you don't hate, or so when you're in a lot of these, you're spending time on these extracurricular activities. You're working with friends, right? So it helps. Like, you kind of combine your extracurricular with socialization. So one in hand. Um, there you go. And then you mentioned, how do you handle school balance with the organization aspect? It goes again also one in hand in hand, because it helps you learn. So for instance, a lot of the research stuff, you go, you spend time, like, it is taxing. You have to, like, spend a little bit more time on it, but you'll find any topic that you go, you research it, you learn it, because you prepare yourself. You write the paper. So again, you put in a lot of hours into it, and then you become a little bit more proficient on that specific topic, and then you come into class and you have like a subject or something pops up, and you're like, oh, I know that, because already. So it helps. And then, for instance, you're doing some workshop, you're organized, conservative, different technique, or you're doing an endo workshop, or some different techniques for surgery, or whatever the case is. So it just adds to your, like, experience. Doesn't really take away. It's just something that's honestly constantly adding. So like, it goes hand in hand. You're studying, you can do some workshop here and there. It'll benefit you in terms of the learning curve and the learning process.
Yeah. Well, you technically live and breathe in your basically a goal that you want to achieve, right? You have to sleep, live, breathe in.
Oh, I
And
would get no, 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 no. This is the
then
thing
one
is,
second, then it doesn't become like a task, it becomes
uh,
enjoyable, and you
okay.
find ways how to, make it fun.
That's how you psychologically trick yourself.
No, because if you look at it, it's like, oh, there's like these
Hmm.
workshops, blah blah blah. You have to do studying. This is like extra work, lots of tasks, meetings, and so on. But as Olesya mentioned, if you have like friends with you, it becomes like a social event. You interact, you talk about it. But everything aside, you have to be passionate about this. If you're not passionate about this, nothing will work. Like, you're gonna hate it,
Hmm.
and then you find ways. Like, if you want to achieve something, like, yeah, you find ways how to not make it boring. How to get to there, with a little bit of
And then also, I would have to say
fun
like
activities.
I just said also like because you asked like that question specifically for like I guess school and schoolwork and grades and all that. I'd say like have boundaries, you know? Like if you have an exam, like school goes first. So I mean like a lot of these stuff is on top of it, additional things. So you have to prioritize and have boundaries, clear ones there. So you can balance it. It's possible. It's feasible. So we recommend.
We try our best. That's
Yeah.
why we collaborate, like, with students from different years, not only from our year. So let's say if
Yeah,
our
the
year
schedules work. Yeah.
is a little bit busier, we have exams and tests, we tell our colleagues, like, this is your turn to shine, so you can, like, do this activity, organize this, and we'll help you later, or so on. Like, we need a little bit more time for studying, and things like that to
The
plan.
team, yeah. And
But
then
it's
also
not
your
always like,
students. So.
yeah, it's not always like this. We travel a little bit too. The benefits also studying in Poland is you can travel
She's
in
branching
Europe.
out of the question, Taha.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually hoping for that side of the question.
Oh, you were looking through. Okay, well, okay, never mind.
It's okay. It's okay.
No,
Carry on.
travel, travel.
Yeah. Benefits of studying in Poland, right, in Europe. It's a
I
different
mean,
atmosphere, I feel like, compared to America. Like, yeah, you can travel to different countries over the weekend. I know our colleagues do that too. So,
I mean, it's
for
fun. Like, I mean, like if
during
you can
breaks time.
study, yeah, if you can study in a coffee shop in a different country, I mean, why not?
In country, yeah, I know, Olesya. Okay, so looking ahead, like where do you see yourself after graduation? Like, which specific specialty do you have in mind to go to, and what would you be pursuing after you graduate?
I mean, you'll have to stay tuned to the next episode. When we come in for the next, I mean, I guess we can plan, like, we can talk about plans, but there's always some stuff that will happen or will not happen, and that's not for us to know. We just have to wait it out. There's always like things that you can place in motion, hopefully. But we'll see. We'll see how that carries us, our plans. But
Dentistry is a little bit
yeah,
different compared to medicine. We don't have to specialize as per se, right after, during your stage and, like
exactly.
internship, and we don't have we can perform all sorts of treatments, even especially in Poland. They don't do as much specialties as, let's say, in Canada or in US. Here you can be a general dentist. You take some additional courses which make you proficient in this type of specialty, either endodontics or orthodontics. And you can practice. 1 year you set your goal to be in orthodontics, right? Then maybe, okay, I don't like it as much anymore. I'll pursue a different job into restorative or aesthetic dentistry.
But I think it's like they obviously like give preference. From what I know from here, specialty programs at least, you would have to have there's a lot of point system. Like our doctors were telling us. I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but there's like for instance, you have to do very high on the score high on the exam, the stash exams and all
Alde.
the ALDEC. Yeah, there you go, wrong term. But like ALDEC, yeah, ALDEC exams, you have to have a high score, and then there's points for you if you do research, let's say. That's another point. And then there's points if you have not publications, but you have like other experiences, like some extracurricular conference and all, whatever the case is. And then there's also the points that they account for your academic grades, right? So all these bundle of things, they qualify you on like some scale. You should
And the
ask if
spaces
you're
are
interested. Ask
really
someone who actually more proficient in this. But then the
yeah.
scale translates, and then it translates to some grade percentage wise, and then that will qualify you as a competitive or not competitive candidate for a specialty. And your specialty, from what we have known from the doctors, are very competitive to get in. So very limited spots, at least in Poznan, for a lot of these specialty programs. So you would have to have like very awesome like aspects. Like Olena said, for us is just like I mean if North America and all that stuff is our route, hypothetically, let's say speaking, there's a lot of like equivalency processes, and then actually getting the diploma to work as a dentist first before getting any specialty. So even that aspect on itself is a long journey. But specialty, we'll see.
With the states, it's a little bit different. They offer opportunity to apply to the specialty
Yeah.
after finishing your, let's say, dental school in Poland. So either you apply to a general program, which is like dental program for 2.5 years, 2 years, right? Or you apply and then later on you can become a specialist and then you practice whichever specialty, and it's additional again 2 years, so 4 years together. So it depends on the specialties, could be 3 additional years. So it's really subjective. It really depends on which specialty you want.
Yeah.
But the only thing is that if you apply after the university here in Poland into specialty in the States, let's say, you're not allowed to do any like other treatments outside your specialties, also based
Unless
on
you're registered in the boards, I think.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you have to be registered, and for you to be registered, you have to have the diploma, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
have your diploma specifically stating your only for the specialties, you cannot charge. Also, another thing is that uh, because once you get the diploma, you have the license, and the license helps you to
Alana's
charge
painting your
insurance.
route to a specialty in US.
Yeah, so you have to charge patients with the insurance, and dental
Okay.
there's like specific codes that dentists have, and they have to submit their license number in order to charge the insurance and patients. So everything is connected, everything is like
I mean,
linked together. So if you want to specifically practice, yeah, there is a chance, but a lot of students they first go into general dentistry, and over down the years, even after a few years working as a dentist, you can still go back and do your specialty.
a lot of people go like to Ireland and then they figure out what they want, like, and then specialize somewhere there. UK is always an option for the English speaking students.
It's different than MD, right? Yeah, very different.
Uh,
Okay, so as you're about to end the podcast, I would just like to.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see you're sleepy right now. Would you like to share any final thoughts with our viewers instead of work hard, party hard?
Yeah, that's the main, slogan of the episode. Any thoughts? I would say like, it's like an amazing opportunity, and hopefully, you just enjoy it. Like, see any problem as like not actually a problem, but it might sound ridiculous. I know it's coming from like you don't feel it when you're instance of going through it, but it's not that big. Like every exam that you take is just like another step, and it's awesome, and it's awesome an opportunity, I would say. It's like you're in Europe, especially for those international students, right? You're in a country that has like so many cool spots, like cool cafes, cute parks, and all that stuff. The architecture is awesome. So, I mean, like, enjoy it, live a little, party a little, and study a little. So, you just try to balance everything off because, like, if you focus everything, sometimes I'd say, like, yeah, dentistry is definitely a passion, but it can really be your personality. That would be a little bit too much. So try to find the beauty in that, and then also at least what I'm trying. Not the expert, not by far. Um, but just trying to find something more interesting out of dentistry also to focus on and kind of experience the European lifestyle, go out, see things, and yeah, and then party hard, work hard.
Party harder, actually.
uh,
I agree.
Sleep a little bit too in between.
Yeah, I agree with what Olesya says, but I also like remember my mentor, like the teacher that I had, also mentioned to me that you have to have you have to imagine yourself in few years working with this job, and then you have to know that working with and doing these things, you would be happy waking up in the morning and going to that job. If if you know that it's not your thing, something like inside, even maybe there is some aspects from the family pushing you into this career, or there's something like you're not feeling it, don't force yourself, don't push yourself, because to be good in what you in this profession, you have to love it, right? You have to have this passion a little bit, and this drive, that fire in your eyes, and when you talk about the teeth, you get excited and you want to like talk for hours even though it's like the same topic. But if
Hence
you
the
don't,
2-hour podcast.
that's our
Yeah, excited
we're
for advertisers.
so some people actually think maybe that we're like, you're crazy, but
Speak for yourself, okay? I was
but
talking about relaxation.
relaxation, it's always good to
Yeah.
have a balance, but later on, work will come, and then mundane things will make your life very sad if you don't find passion in it. You have to love what you do. That's number one thing. So try before, like, joining somehow, with these shadowing and experience, try to feel it if it's your thing. If not, then, and Poland is a great place, I'd say, compared to other unis, like what I have heard from other students. It's like overall we become like a family here. It's more relaxing, it's not as stressful, and the atmosphere here in Europe, it's very relaxing and easygoing, I would say, compared to North America a little bit. So
There was a doctor from North America that came. He's an alumni. He's going to be doing an alumni speech um,
our
on Monday for us. Yeah, and then for the graduates, and he's saying like the work. Look at the statistics of the work. He was talking about the work efficiency of. He works in Yale. He's an associate professor, and he's like, just look at the statistics of efficiency in Europe and like Canada. Like you're saying, comparing Canada and US, that the efficiency of US is way more than in Canada, the work efficiency, and then uh, comparison to that to Europe is also like you do, I guess, the math, the trends. But like it's interesting to look at that. But I think all in all, it's different priorities, and just I think what Alana said, what I said, I guess the culmination of all of that is establish what you want. Like, what's your priority, and then just go with it. If you don't want to work that much, then don't work that much. Just have a balance. If you want to be living, breathing dentistry, go ahead. So it's like, honestly, it's to each their own, you know. But like, the one thing is, before you waste time into it, because it is taxing. You know, you're in second year, going through all the exams and that stuff. It's not great, right? Yeah, so I mean, it's a taxing thing, just studying lots of information. So before you put yourself into these kind of measures, at least know that you want to.
And one of the other interesting thing I would say is if you incorporate some additional extracurricular activities into your regular program, the studying becomes a little bit more not as stressful, I think.
Hmm.
Because you
Because
stressed yourself on the extracurricular.
yeah,
Your stress becomes balanced
you
on equal parts.
diverge, you balance off the
You,
stress a little bit
no,
there,
you
a
don't.
little bit.
Yeah, you just become stressed all the time, so you don't feel the difference. That's just jokes aside, dark humor out here, but yeah, equalize your stress on all components of your life. Okay.
Okay, so I would like to thank you guys so much for joining us today, but unfortunately, I have to end the podcast because I can see Olesya sleeping like inside. It's her sleep time now. Okay,
I've been drinking coffee. I've been trying to help myself.
as a dentist, coffee isn't good for our teeth, you know. So
Yeah.
It's okay. She has her sister. We can clean it up.
Yeah,
okay,
it's fine. It's fine.
all right. Once again, thank you guys so much for taking part in this podcast, and hopefully, we'll see you in the next episode when you decide which specialty you want to go into.
Yeah, next episode. It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It's a melodrama on a cliffhanger. There you go.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and
Bye.
good
Take
luck
care.
with your school, with your
Good luck
program.
with exams. Bye.